better start having facelifts and do everything you can because that's all you've got. And if you're not pretty, you're gone. And isn't that what's happening? I think that Priscilla Presley is the biggest example that is sad. They destroy. She was one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. Just pretty. And her need for beauty was so strong that she had to go, and they blew it. And now her face is weird. And it's the epitome of somebody that says, I don't dare grow old. Sally Field, loves looking like she's Sister Betrill all the way to she's 90. Give it a break, honey. It's okay to get old. You see what I'm saying? It really is true. So if your natural attributes, your beauty is what's giving you value, you're in deep trouble because it will go. It will go. Now, is there anything wrong with being pretty? No. Is there anything wrong with enjoying it? No. But if your value is established in it, oh my Lord, heaven help us all. Okay? Well, what if you don't have ability and you're ugly? Now you got problems. It's okay. You might have power. You're in charge. You're a parent. You can boss somebody around. They will love me. Okay? People that have power, they perform with the power. It creates a desire. And from that desire, they get value. And we see it in an unhealthy authority with policemen all the time, don't we? You were doing what? They've got it all over you. You need them now. You need me. They tried to do that to Jesus, Pilate. Do you know who I am? Pfft, you don't know who you are. You really think this is up to you? See, Jesus understood there was a higher power involved. And I don't need to dance for you. I won't perform for you, Pilate. I don't care what power you think you have. My times are in my Father's hands. And I'm not going to listen to you. As children, my dad was very successful in business, and we would have these big wigs come over, and they're all trying to impress my dad. He worked for RT French Company, French's mustard and spices, and he was quite high in the company. And so we would go to the factory, and he was going to take us home or whatever, and they had this big vat that was about the size of the room type of vat, full of these little red cinnamon candies, that they put on top of, I love cinnamon. And so there would be a ladder up the vat, and I would go get a paper cup out of the bathroom and climb up. Now, all the workers are watching me. I'm not allowed to do this, but they're not saying anything. Why? Daddy's in the president's office. So I knew it. Fully knew what I was doing. Strutted up there, come down with a cup, handed them, you want one? All right, up I go. And they're just... Don't dare say a word. If they had really known my old man, they would have said, I'm calling your dad. But they didn't know that, and I knew they didn't know that. And so then one day, one of the people on the floor, her daughter came in, and she started to follow me. She went and got a cup, and they chewed her out and brought her down. Now, I'm little, but I distinctly remember enjoying this. I walked and took her cup and said, wait a minute. And I went up, came down, and looked right at the person that corrected her. And I didn't dare say a word to this 8-year-old. Do you know how humiliating that must have been for them? I had power over them. It was all a facade, though. They thought I did. But sometimes it's true. You can get fired. A person does have power. That's why we don't want them to know what we're voting, isn't it? Because now they can manipulate us and get us to vote for what ascribing value. I'm in charge. Well, what if you don't have ability and you're ugly and you're not the boss? It's okay. You may have money, honey. If you have money, people listen. I don't know why money is attached to intelligence somehow, but they think that if you're rich, you're smart. Some of the dumbest people I've met are people with money. I'm really serious. Look at the prodigal son. He had a father's love. He had everything going. A big brother is a little jealous. We can deal with that, sibling problems. But he took all his money and went to have a party, and when he was done with the money, so was the party. Our society is the same way. You see it in commercials. The commercial where I have all these chips, and everybody comes in and having a party, the chips are gone, and they, wait, I'll get more chips, and they all come running back. Say, I've got stuff if you want stuff. And so what we do is we then want you because You've got something to perform with. Now I desire you, and now you're valuable. And the party has to happen because you're not valuable. That really is critical. What people don't understand is this is the strings to the slavery. He knows you need this because you don't have this. He knows water is not an option. So he knows you won't leave his cesspool. You'll do whatever he wants you to do to get the water, because that's not an option. And if we can really get that into our hearts, we'll have a lot more compassion for people on the streets that don't understand that. They're doing stuff they never would have thought they would do. I mean, how many have been divorced? And so when you were little and you were 8 years old and they were saying, what do you want to be when you grow up? Divorced. I hope I could grow up, marry a girl, have a kid, and then divorce her, and we'll all be hurt. That wasn't in your heart. What happened? Something went wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? What do you want to be, Johnny? I want to be a robber. I hope to go to jail and disappoint my mother. Nobody talks like that, because that's not in our dreams. That's what happens to us because we're sold as a slave to sin. We're sold to this separation. The devil owns us. He's got control over us, and he uses the water to do it. He knows that relationship is not an option. If you're hurt physically and emotionally, which hurts worse? Emotional. But where does it hurt? Have you ever thought about that? I was laying in a bed in, where was I? I was in Kazakhstan, and I was missing my husband so badly. I just lay there and cried, just felt frozen, and I didn't want to listen to Mr. Darcy anymore. I listened to Pride and Prejudice every night to go to sleep. Listen to Mr. Darcy reject Elizabeth, over and over. And because it's so long, I never get to where he repents and proposes, but I do have in my head that's coming, and so I go to sleep to Colin Firth, being British, But I just thought, you know what, I don't care about Mr. Darcy tonight, and I'm just aching, and I felt this pain that was excruciating. And I thought, and I preach like this, so I thought, let me see if I can go find where this is. And I couldn't find it, but it hurts. It absolutely hurts. My computer had crashed, so I wasn't able to call home. I had no way to reach for him. I was just stuck. And so that pain, if I don't know about God and his provision, I'll do anything to keep this intact, because you can't live with the pain of this being gone. You can't function. You malfunction in your ability to move when you've not got water, polluted or fresh. Okay? Well, let's say you don't have money. You don't have ability, you're ugly, you're not the boss. Maybe you could develop a skill. You could become a worship leader. And if you lead worship really good, then guess what? When you perform, they'll desire you, and now you're valuable. And then what happens when the pastor tries to take the microphone out of your hand? You bite his hand off. Why? Because you weren't humbly serving. You were getting your value by performing. And when he reaches for the microphone, you don't see performance. You weren't humbly serving. What you see is my value is being taken away from me. And I can't let you do that. The most difficult things that many pastors run into when they don't have someone that they're married to that can lead worship is their worship leaders.